Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
New this morning, our level 1 risk covers the entire viewing area for today. I'll show you what time the strong thunderstorms could start.
We've also learned the name of the man who was shot and killed at a local car wash, his identity, and who police want to talk to.
Today, problems at the DMV will be addressed by lawmakers, why there have been delays in people getting a physical ID.
And veterans from the greatest generation are in Normandy, France for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We'll have a look at North Carolina's connections to this day in history. Speaking of connections here, 4:30 in the morning on a Thursday, I'm rubbing my eye. I'm like, Catherine Brown in the house.
Blast from the past.
Hello, friend.
In for Renee today. How are you?
Good. Excellent, excellent. Been doing fine. Great to see you again.
Great to be back.
Did you bring some cooler weather, though? That is the question, certainly.
I'm trying to do what I can, Jeff.
One more day. Humidity out there. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now, but just one more day, right?
This is the day that the cold front will come sweeping through. Of course, along and ahead of that front, we will see scattered storms and the chance of some severe weather. But after that, it will feel so much nicer for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We take a look at our severe weather threat, and it does include the entire viewing area, almost the entire state, and that's an expansion from what we were seeing yesterday. So damaging winds will be our biggest threat. Because of the fact that we have so much moisture in the atmosphere, we'll likely have some heavy rain with this. The cold front right now is moving through the middle part of Tennessee. We do way out ahead of it have some storms right there along the coast, but those will not be affecting us this morning. We continue with a solid flow coming out of the south, bringing us a lot of warmth and humidity this morning. Mostly clear now, but we'll see increasing clouds as we get through the day. After lunchtime, we start to see showers and storms developing. You can see there's 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then the front itself will come through later on in the evening. Most of what we see will be around the time of the evening commute and not right along the front. Take a live look at Pinehurst, and boy, they are gearing up. Some events already happening there. And of course, we will see that round of thunderstorms later on today. 73 is our temperature, 67 is our dew point, so it's really warm and sticky out there. We'll see a high of 91 this afternoon, and it'll feel more like mid-90s with the heat index.
Today, we'll get an update on issues at the DMV that have been causing major delays in getting a physical ID in your hands. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the DMV office on Avon Ferry Road in Raleigh. Kelsey, the DMV commissioner will be answering questions from state lawmakers today about those delays.
Jeff, you will in a few hours. We'll hopefully find out some more information about what's behind the holdup for people to get their physical IDs. 50,000 people a week are impacted by this issue, according to the DMV. So if you've had this problem at one of the offices, you're not the only one. Now, today's hearing comes just a few months after lawmakers grilled DMV Commissioner Wayne Goodwin and his staff. They were questioned about issues with making appointments, long lines, and wait times for IDs. The DMV says their normal turnaround time to give out IDs is 15 days. Now that's jumped to 6 weeks. So that's because a contractor printed more than 2,000 IDs it shouldn't have. Now, Commissioner Goodwin is scheduled to speak with state lawmakers this morning at 9 o'clock. We'll be sure to have a crew there to keep you updated. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Kelsey, thank you. New this morning, 2 men are wanted for questioning in connection to a homicide after a man was found shot to death at a local car wash. This happened on Deaver Circle in Hope Mills. Authorities say the man who was killed was 21-year-old Lamarvian McKinnon. The men wanted for questioning are 23-year-old Alan Tedder and 24-year-old Keemont Johnson. If you have information about their whereabouts, you're asked to call the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office.
Also today, a funeral will take place for a family killed in a crash in Garner. Services for the Campbell family are happening this morning at a church in Ellenboro in the western part of the state. Tyler and Susan Campbell and their 8-year-old son Miles died in a crash that happened on Memorial Day. Memorial services for the family will continue this weekend. A service is planned in Garner at a Building Summit Church uses on Vandora Springs Road, and that is set for Saturday, 3 p.m. Now, the driver, Jordan Porter, is facing second-degree murder charges. This is the first photo we're seeing of him. A family member provided it to WRAL. Porter has not been served yet, so we don't have a mugshot of him. Warrants say he was drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana before this crash.
Severe weather turned deadly in Michigan, and now a 2-year-old boy is dead and his mother in the hospital in critical condition after a tree crashed through the roof of their home. This video incredible. This happened in the city of Livonia, about 25 minutes from Detroit. The tree fell through the bedroom onto a bed where the mother and her baby were lying, pinning them underneath. Crews worked for more than an hour to remove the tree and extract the mother and child. The 2-year-old died at the scene. There was a 2-week-old in the crib in a separate room, along with the grandmother. They were not injured.
One man is dead and another is hurt after a shooting in Goldsboro. Police say they responded to calls about gunshots being fired on South John Street yesterday evening. They found 18-year-old Tysher Davis shot. At last check, he was at ECU Health in fair condition. Police later found 21-year-old Vortania Sanders, who was shot to death inside a car on Hollowell Street. Police say the two knew each other and had some sort of an argument before that shooting. Today, we should know who the new chancellor for the North Carolina Central University will be. UNC Board of Governors will meet in special session this morning to elect the new chancellor. They're looking to replace Johnson Akinleye, who is retiring at the end of this month. He was NCCU's chancellor for nearly 8 years and is credited for boosting enrollment as well as partnerships. That meeting gets started at 9:30 this morning.
The family of a 21-year-old woman killed in Durham last week is demanding answers. Last night, they gathered to hold a balloon release in honor of Jatavia Day. This is video the family shared only with WRAL. Day was shot on Guest Road last Tuesday night and died days later. Her family says she was an innocent bystander and they cannot understand why she's gone. Her uncle says Day was a happy, thoughtful, and fun young woman.
She's a social butterfly. She tried to take it and like I said, she just want to make everybody smile, and she just do quirky things just to have fun.
Durham police released these photos of a car they believe was involved, and they're asking anyone with answers to come forward. Day is one of more than 100 people shot in Durham so far this year.
The reproductive rights of women is something many voters say is a top concern in the upcoming election. Yesterday, the U.S. Senate blocked a bill that would guarantee access to contraception nationwide. The Right to Contraception Act would have made it a protected right for people to buy and use contraceptives, things like birth control pills and condoms. The measure is part of Democrats' push to codify these rights into law after overturning the Roe v. Wade. North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis and Ted Budd voted against the bill.
Well, today is the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion during World War II. Veterans who fought in the war are back in Normandy, France for commemoration events. In the village of Sannerville, British Army paratroopers recreated a drop into the fields of Normandy. Nearby, a service to honor the fallen was held at the Pegasus Bridge. British and American veterans gave speeches, laid wreaths, and listened to their national anthems. This year's anniversary is likely the last major commemoration that D-Day veterans, now nearing 100 years old, will attend. And North Carolina has some strong connections to D-Day. The beaches at our state's coast played a role in the invasion. A lot of the training was done there in 1941 and beyond. And a choir from one of our state's universities is in France for the 80th anniversary ceremonies. 16 students from the Gardner-Webb Department of Music will perform to honor on this historic day.
More PCB testing will happen in Poe Hall on NC State's campus. Former grad student Dr. Darren Major is battling leukemia right now. He took the university to court to get his own experts into Poe Hall to conduct independent testing of the building. They want to know if PCBs in the building contributed to his cancer and others. And NC State tried to stop that from happening. Yesterday, the North Carolina Appeals Court ruled Major's experts should be allowed in.
Now we can get in there and do the testing and get the answers. One way or the other, I just wanted to get those answers.
Same judges did block Major's attorneys from obtaining documents and depositions from NC State leaders.
It is day 2 of the soccer tournament. It will kick off this morning in Cary. Today, the final stage group will play. Yesterday, all 48 teams played 2 matches. For the first time, TST will host a women's tournament this year. That begins with 8 teams, including 1 representing the North Carolina Courage. The playoffs go through the weekend with a $1 million championship games Monday night.
JJ Watt, big goalkeeper there. A desperate plea for the return of a dog believed to have been stolen in Raleigh.
I don't have no hard feelings towards this lady. I just want to get the dog back.
The moments a woman is seen taking that dog after she got out of a hotel room.
And after a successful launch, Boeing's Starliner runs into more issues. The situation NASA is closely monitoring this morning as the spacecraft prepares to dock at the ISS.
And it's a live look in Franklinton. Good morning to you this morning. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will time out when we could see the worst of that weather.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
443, we have a level 1 risk for severe storm. So across the entire viewing area, we'll likely see these storms developing during the afternoon and continuing through much of the evening. Damaging winds will be our biggest threat, but heavy rain is likely too. The last couple of days, we've definitely seen some heavy rain. Likely to start kicking things off at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, that continues into the evening. The cold front itself won't come through until fairly late, but our better chance is going to be between maybe 4 and 6 or 7 p.m. Taking a look at what's happening out there, Durham 73, Raleigh 73, 72 in Fayetteville. So it's a warm, sticky start this morning, feeling very much like summer. So that's what you'll see walking the dog this morning. We'll see a high of 91 this afternoon, but at 5 o'clock, if you're walking the dog after work, you may see a few isolated thunderstorms.
Former President Donald Trump's election interference case in Georgia is hitting a snag. A Georgia appeals court has halted the case while it reviews the lower court's ruling allowing Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis to stay on the case. The order issued Wednesday prevents the judge from moving forward with pretrial motions while the appeal is pending. A grand jury indicted Trump and 18 others of participating in a scheme to overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia.
The owner of this 16-year-old dog, Jasmine, is making a desperate plea for his dog to be returned to her home. Jasmine slipped out of one of the rooms at a Days Inn hotel along Glenwood Avenue. The owner of the dog was unloading clothes from his car when she got out. Well, since then, he continues to return to the hotel in hopes of finding Jasmine. Hotel staff later shared surveillance video of what appears to be a woman picking up the dog after she got away.
We seen this lady stop right down the road here in front of the Wendy's and picked her up. I don't have no hard feelings towards this lady. I just want to get the dog back.
Flyers on the property describe Jasmine as very shy and hard of hearing. The owner wants to use this experience as a reminder to have pets microchipped and help bring them home.
A lawyer for the family of Micah Miller says a bill that's been buried in the South Carolina legislature could have saved her life. Attorney Regina Ward is urging South Carolina lawmakers to pass a coercive control bill. Miller was in the middle of divorce proceedings from her estranged husband, John Paul, when she died by suicide April 27th. Coercive control refers to a pattern of behavior used to intimidate another person, including threats and emotional abuse. The attorney says the bill has been sitting in the state's legislature Judiciary Committee since 2020. Micah's sister said she experienced abuse and violence from John Paul, and he has not been charged with any crime related to her death.
A school resource officer and weapons detector stopped someone from entering an award ceremony in Edgecombe County with a gun. Alexis Ellis is charged with having the weapon on school property at Wimberley Elementary School. She was released on bond. No one was hurt, and there was never a threat to any students or teachers.
Scary moments in the Caribbean Sea. A boat with 4 people on board capsized in the waters off the coast of Colombia Sunday. Crew members were clinging to the last remnants of that boat before they were rescued. Officials threw life preservers connected to ropes to pull them into safety.
Well, this afternoon, 2 astronauts aboard Boeing's Starliner are expected to dock at the International Space Station. The crew spacecraft successfully launched from Cape Canaveral yesterday morning after 2 previously failed attempts. After the launch, NASA and Boeing discovered another helium leak. NASA determined the 2 crew members on board could safely go to sleep as they continue to look at the data from the leak. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams are on board. The mission is the final major milestone Boeing needs to be deemed ready for routine operations for NASA. And it comes as Boeing's competitor SpaceX is set to launch its mega rocket Starship from Texas this morning. It's the 4th unscrewed test for NASA's mission to return people to the moon. That's expected to happen at 8 o'clock this morning, so just a few hours. The FAA says SpaceX proposed 3 scenarios involving Starship's entry into the atmosphere that would not require an investigation if the vehicle is lost. During this test, SpaceX is focused on returning and reusing Starship and its rocket booster.
North Carolina's very own viral stingray, Charlotte, is no longer pregnant. That's according to the Aquarium and Shark Lab in Hendersonville, where Charlotte lives. Last week, they revealed Charlotte has a rare reproductive disease that negatively affects her reproductive system. Earlier this year, the aquarium team found she was pregnant, even though there are no male stingrays in her tank. The aquarium says she is stable and has shown no decrease in her appetite or activity. The The aquarium will remain closed as the team cares for Charlotte.
Elizabeth is over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Bit of a transition day today, Elizabeth.
It is. We have this cold front that we've been watching for a while, and it comes through today. It's going to bring us afternoon and evening thunderstorms, and then behind it, it's going to feel so much nicer for the weekend. We're going to get rid of some of this humidity. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms today across the entire viewing area. Damaging winds would be our biggest threat, but we could also see some heavy rain. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. You know that. I'm sure you've been outside, and it just feels oppressively sticky. So heavy rain is possible with these storms developing as well. All right, let's talk about the timeline. Mostly clear this morning, but we'll see the clouds thickening up pretty quickly. We'll have the potential for some showers and storms to develop as early as around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They become a little heavier during the evening commute. There's 5 o'clock and then slide eastward. One more isolated round is possible later on in the evening. There's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's when the cold front itself will come through, but we'll have a better chance of severe storms between, say, maybe 3 and 7 p.m. Taking a live look at Durham this morning, all is quiet. It is warm and sticky, though. 73 degrees, southwest wind at 10 miles per hour. That southwest wind just continues to push this muggy atmosphere into our area. Weather watchers this morning, I love the coneflower. It's one of my very favorite flowers. So thank you to Dana Bergman for sending us your weather watcher photo of what's happening in your backyard. We'd like to see what's happening in your backyard, too. Go to WRAL.com and search weather watchers, and it'll show you how to upload some photos for us. 91 in Raleigh today, 90 in Durham, and 92 in Fayetteville. We'll be able to really warm things up before the thunderstorms begin. And of course, it is steamy. Our dew point is 67. That puts us in the steamy category. But take a look at the muggy meter. By tomorrow, after the front comes through, we'll see a nice drop, a little bit lower Friday, even lower Saturday. Now, it's not likely to drop as much as it did at the end of last week when we got all the way down to refreshing, but still, it'll be a nice little break. And then we're back to sort of the low end of steamy to begin next week. That includes Sunday. So really Friday and Saturday are going to be the days that feel the most comfortable. Here's a look at our front. Back to our west at 2 o'clock. The green shaded area is where the humidity is. And watch that front just kick it right on out. Behind the front, we have a northwest flow that's going to drop in some drier, cooler air. But right behind it, ahead of our next front, we're going to see an increase in our humidity. But behind that, we may actually see some drier air as well. And that front looks like it's probably going to be a fairly dry one for us. Taking a look at temperatures, looking at the potential to climb all the way up to 92 on Sunday as that next front approaches us. But behind it, it feels pleasant again for Monday and Tuesday.
Thanks, Elizabeth. We are a day away from the kickoff to the 66th annual Big Rock Blue Marlin Tournament. Some big boats have already arrived there in Morehead City. Look at this one. Wow, a look ahead to one of the country's biggest fishing tournaments.
Wow. Plus, a trip to the Badlands in North Dakota was the trip of a lifetime for 3 boys. We'll show you how they were able to find a T-Rex fossil. Many North Carolinians say they're struggling to afford enough food for their kids. However, the Consumer Price Index shows that grocery prices really aren't up that much. WRAL's investigative data journalist Allie Ingersoll is looking into what's leading parents to feel this way.
While you might feel some relief at the register, you aren't alone if you're still struggling to get groceries.
I have seen it increase, definitely.
Wake Forest mom Stacia Gluth says she's still buying most of the same things for her family. She knows other people who have made changes, though. About half of parents in the state report not being able to afford enough food or variety for their kids, according to a recent census survey. That's up from about a third of parents in 2022. But the Consumer Price Index reports that grocery prices are up less than 1% year over year. Economist Dr. Michael Walden says prices are going up in other places like rent or mortgage payments. And that's combined with people having 5% less purchasing power.
Most people have seen their wages go up, their earnings go up over time, but they're not enough to compensate for the higher prices.
Meaning it's trickling down to other places where we spend money.
People are now having to realize, and they always do, but I think even more so, they have to make choices. We're seeing that in the marketplace.
Just try not to eat out as much. Kind of realized pretty quickly that that's unsustainable, so just trying to make some more meals at home.
Walden says it will turn around, but it'll likely be at least a year. In Raleigh, Allie Ingersoll, WRAL News.
Three young boys stumbled across a fossil in the North Dakota Badlands, and it belonged to a T-Rex. They were going for a hike in July 2022, and they discovered that rare fossil. The Denver Museum of Nature and Science says its team of paleontologists excavated the remains the next year. They say the fossil belonged to a juvenile T-Rex, estimated to stand 10 feet tall and weigh 3,500 pounds. Later this month, the museum is opening a temporary exhibit to display that find.
Oh, that is wild. Can you imagine? Events for the 66th annual Big Rock Blue Marlin Fishing Tournament kick off tomorrow. And talk about a big fish. Michael Jordan's Catch 23 yacht has arrived in Morehead City. This will be Jordan's 5th straight appearance at Big Rock. Crowds will flock to the coast over the weekend to see who will bring home the multi-million-dollar prize.
And we're just a little over a month away from the Olympics, and some swimmers' Olympic trials, they are hoping to make the cut when they visit Indianapolis. Take a look at where they will be competing for a spot in Paris. This will be the pool used for the swim trials ahead of the 2024 Olympic Games. It is inside Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Indianapolis Colts play their NFL games. The trials get underway next Saturday, June 15th. And remember, WRAL is your home for all things Olympics. WRAL's Liz McLaughlin will be bringing you live coverage from Paris this July.
Exciting. Well, we are following breaking news. More than 30 people are dead after an Israeli airstrike in Gaza at a school. We have new video of that damage.
And we also have new information on a shooting in Hope Mills, who police are looking for this morning in connection to that investigation.
And the last major piece of debris left behind from the Baltimore bridge collapse has been removed. We'll share when officials believe the channel will reopen.